Today we're going to talk about hive components and what you need when you're buying a hive ready to house bees. Hello and welcome to Gwynny Griffith. I'm Griff Rees. Now I'll get straight into this video. So when you're buying a hive, first thing you need a floor. Now there's two types of floors in the UK. You've got the mesh floor like I've got here, and you've got a solid floor. Personally I like the mesh floor. It's good for varroa control and very good for ventilation. Excuse the sheep there in the shed next door. We're in the middle of lambing and they want to feature in the video by the looks of it. So, floor. Then it's the business end. Brood box. Now that's where the bees live, that's where the queen lays the eggs, that's where all the brood emerges. So if you're starting fresh, your frames are going to look like that. Fresh frame of foundation. You put that in your brood box. Notice, it's a big frame. It'll be much bigger than the super frame when I put that on top now. So that's your brood box. Now very important that you don't want the queen to come up into your supers and contaminate the supers with brood. So very important, get yourself a queen excluder. There's no point keeping bees if you're in the business of making honey unless you've got one of these. So that sits on top of the brood box. The worker bees can fit through there, go into the super, but the queen is much bigger than the worker bee, so she can't get up. And she's stuck in the box down below where we want her. So very important. Now next is the super. The best part of anybody's hive if you're in the business of making honey. So we got super frames. Notice how much smaller this frame is, and there's very good reason for that. When your super's full of honey, it's really heavy. You probably won't be able to lift it that easy if it was a brood box full of honey. It's hard enough to lift a super when it's full of honey. So it's a good thing these frames are much smaller. Now if you're buying a hive fresh, make sure you've got at least 2 supers per hive. In a good year you might need 6 supers per hive. That's very rare, especially in South Wales. Most years if you've got 2 supers, maybe 3, that's going to be enough for your hive. So definitely though, 2 is the minimum per hive. And that's all you do then. In the middle of summer, the honey flow is on, you just keep adding the supers as it is directly on the super above. Very simple. So on top of the super then, you've got a crown board. Put that there. Now a crown board isn't actually the roof. You've got these 2 holes in the crown board, very handy, especially in the winter when you're feeding your bees. You could put feed in there, liquid feed, put a feeder on top, or you could put fondant directly on top of the crown board, so you don't actually have to go into the hive and make the hive lose all its temperature in the process. So very important, crown board. And then to finish off, got yourself the lid. Roof sits on like that. Now unless you're going poly, try to get a heavy roof. A heavy roof is always good just for weighing down the hive, stopping things blowing off. And with a timber hive like this, as long as the roof is heavy enough, there's no need to strap the hive. If you've got poly hives, then you pretty much have to strap the hives because it's so light. But this is one of the key points of a wooden hive, and one of the pro points, that it's heavy and it's not going to get blown away by the wind. And before I started keeping bees, I thought, you see a photo of a hive, what's holding all that together? Well, nothing, it's just gravity holding itself down. But once you put the bees in there, they'll seal up all the joints here with propolis, and it'll be like glue. And between the weight and the bees doing that, your hive's going to be absolutely solid. So that's your hive. That's what you need for a hive. And when you're buying hives in kits, normally you buy them with 2 supers, queen, excluder, crown board, roof, floor, comes as a kit. Now try and buy it as a kit like that, it'll be a lot cheaper for you. But what you don't buy as a kit are these 2 things, and this is very important. Now for every hive you own, you're going to want to own a feeder as well. So say you're on a small scale, you've got between 5 and 10 hives or maybe smaller. You want to be able to go down to your bees, feed everybody in one go. You don't want to feed that hive one day, then that hive another day. Very, very time consuming. Get yourself a feeder for every hive. This type of feeder, ideally, this is a Thorns one. Thorns actually make this feeder themselves. It's a good size. It's not the biggest. I prefer a big feeder, but value for money, this feeder is very good. And you've got the entrance there in the middle for the bees to come into it. Fits over the crown board, works fantastic. So make sure you get yourself a feeder. And the last thing you need per hive, you need one of these. Now this is a clearer board. So when it's time to take the honey off the hive, put these clearer boards in to empty the supers of bees. Now some beekeepers will tell you there's no need to buy this, just put a porta bee escape in your crown board and use that. Well, take it from me, and I know a lot of other bee farmers, we keep bees commercially, they are rubbish. Make sure you get yourself a clearer board, because you will thank me if you start using the porta bee escapes and then go over to this. You'd think, why did I bother with the porta bee escapes at the beginning? Just get yourself one of these. It's worth every penny that it's going to cost you, and then they're not that expensive anyway. So that's it. That's the hive components and what you need to buy to make sure your hive is complete, ready for the beekeeping season. Thanks for watching, and if you haven't subscribed to my YouTube channel, click the red button, make sure you subscribe. And if you want to keep up with me, I'm on Facebook, Twitter and Instagram. You can follow me there as well. Thanks for watching.